Hey guys, Parfax here. Today I am bringing you a melee Nightblade build. I know you guys have all been asking for one, and I've actually been running one on and off stream. If you haven't seen it, I stream on twitch.tv/Parfaxgaming. I've been running this build, and I made one little slight tweak to it since the last time I streamed it. But essentially, it's pretty much the same thing. But I figured I'd give you guys the build video of what I'm running, and it's pretty basic. But it's extremely effective, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so we are here on my Khajiit Nightblade, and I have been absolutely loving playing this melee Nightblade build in Cyrodiil. You can go back, like I said, and watch my streams. I've been doing a lot of it, and I've been doing it some off stream as well. And let's just start breaking it down. First, we'll talk about something I kind of forgot to talk about on my last one, which is my Mundus Stone. I am running the Shadow. I pretty much run the Shadow on every Nightblade build because I essentially just use my Cloak and a couple other tools as my getaway, realistically my defenses. And I think the Nightblade really shines in that aspect just because you can do so much damage, and the Khajiit really is very good in that aspect. Now, you can run a plethora of different races. You can run Dunmer, you can run Wood Elf. Those three are probably the best, but you can also run things like Orc, and Redguard's okay. You can run Imperial. You really can run just about anything, and this build will still be very good. I just do like Khajiit, most Khajiit and Dunmer, mainly for that crit damage you get from the Khajiit passive. Okay, now that we talked about that, since I forgot that on the last video, let's first start talking about the gear. Now, we're not doing anything absolutely crazy here. We are going for a very basic setup, but just because it's basic doesn't mean it isn't really good. Now, we're not running any proc sets in the form of free damage. We are running basically straight damage sets, and my reason for this, and I think this is part of the reason why on the Nightblade, I actually will tend to go less of the proc set versus more of the proc set, because we will deal all of our damage in a split second. We will kill the person and then we will get out. If you're looking to more brawl, this is not necessarily going to be the setup for you. These are more very much damage focused, and we're going to use our stealth and surprise Ring of the Wild Hunt to really enter shade to get out of jail, and that's going to be our defensives. Now, so let's talk about the gear. First, let's talk about mechanical acuity. This is an insane set for the Nightblade. We are stacking divines with the Shadow Mundus, so this is going to make us crit 100% of the time. Essentially, what this is going to do is you're going to hit somebody with two, 3 or 4 abilities really quickly, and it's going to make sure every single one of them actually crits. So it's going to be really good because we're going to get that crit from stealth, and then we are going to get the crit for 5 seconds for the mechanical acuity, and then even if it's not up, you can still kill people, but this makes it really easy. Next, let's talk about our one piece. We have Crags. This is just a great one piece. Again, you can see the divines, and we're running physical penetration because that's kind of the stat we need the most. And our next set is, and I'm sorry, you guys are gonna be like, oh, come on, Parfax, New Moon. I know. You're like, Parfax, couldn't you come up with something better? Yes, you can actually run Innate Axiom. It is really good, and it just gives you weapon damage for your class abilities. Now, we are using one damage that isn't our class abilities, but it's really good. But New Moon is just so good for what we want to do. We are looking for just flat damage, and it gives it to us. It gives us penetration as well. It gives us critical chance. It literally gives us everything we need. I know people are probably tired of seeing New Moon. I know everybody's going to a little bit more proc set, so maybe you're excited to see New Moon back again. But I really think these two together are just absolutely crazy good on the Stamina Nightblade. So we are running one other thing, and I am running New Moon on the front bar, and we're just running the Vadashram back bar. I am running defending. We don't have anything on the back bar that does damage, So we are just using this to, and we have the stamina restore on the back bar. We don't really attack much on the back bar, but this is kind of the best one or two piece you can have back there, in my opinion, with the best trait, the defending. Gives us a little bit of survivability when we're back there. If you want to run something like maybe powered to kind of increase your heals of your rally, you can, but I really think defending is the way to go. So now that we've talked about the gear and we're running infused, I didn't say that, but we're running infused, we're running divines, everything. I think I have one piece of well-fitted. No, you can run well-fitted. I went for straight divines. You can run, I would say no max more than 2 pieces of well-fitted, but I really like the divines. And I know a lot of you guys said you want to see me run mainly purple gear. I do have some legendaries mixed in here, not too much, but they were just laying around. So that doesn't give you a ton bonus right there, just because these 3 pieces are legendary. And so it's not huge, but just kind of a little side note there. All right, like I said, we're running New Moon on the front bar, and we're running just the double damage poison. We're just trying to do as much damage as possible. If you want, you can run this poison. This poison's really good. I showcased this in one of my last videos. It's going to give them minor defile. It's going to give them where's it at? The poison and minor vulnerability, all really good traits. If you put them on this, it's really, really good. But we just went for the double damage poisons, but both of these are really good in my opinion. Okay, so now let's talk about the skills. So the one skill you may see on here that might look a little odd is actually crushing weapon. Now I need to level this up fully, but let me tell you, this is really good. So essentially what you can do with this skill, and I got this from a magic Nightblade. I've been running my magic Nightblade, and I'm like, why can't I just do this to my stamina Nightblade? And man, I should. There was literally mobs just right here. Hold on, let's go up here. There were literally mobs right here. Oh, they're there. Oh, no, that's just a guy logging in, I imagine, from actually killing the mobs that I wanted to kill. Okay, so we have this saber cat up here. So what you can do is we're gonna click up to him, right? You hit it, auto attack, surprise attack. We just hit him. Let's see. Do I have it on here? Yeah. So in a split second, that is our damage here. We dealt, the surprise attack did very little damage, mainly because the mob was just dead. But our light attack plus crushing weapon by itself did almost 30,000 damage. Now this is a mob and we're PvE, so you're not going to get these numbers from, you know, PvP, but just kind of look at the actual damage. We're hitting all 3 of those at the exact same time, so they don't have a whole lot of room to really react. They'll take so much damage right off the bat. Now, if you want to swap that out for something, you can. You can use a gap closer. You can go with an execute if you want. But I chose this route. It's just a lot more damage up front. And with the Nightblade, I'm really just looking to kill them in an instant and then get out. Okay, so let's talk about the next skill, surprise attack. Pretty self-explanatory. This skill is pretty insane. We're running Vigor. We're running Camouflage Hunter. This is just going to give us major savagery on the front bar. It's going to give us minor berserk. After 5%, you deal critical damage from an enemy's flank, which we're going to be trying to do that all the time. And it's part of the reason why we don't need an execute. If you want to take this off and put an execute there, you can. We really don't need the major savagery, but it is going to give us that minor berserk right after we do our first attack from stealth. And it's still pretty good because you're not going to have mechanical acuity up 100% of the time. So when you don't, this really helps. And then we are front barring shadowy disguise. I just like it here. I like it to be tailored with my Camouflage Hunter, because in Cyrodiil, I like to go hit Camouflage Hunter, then instantly stealth. And then that way I can kind of search for the people that are, you know, running around trying to kill me. And then we have Incap. Incap's just really good. It just does a lot of damage. Everybody knows what Incap does, and everybody's been killed by it. Next, we're going to go to our back bar. This is the big flex spot back here, which is Reaper's Mark. You can slot literally whatever you want here. I use it for more Cyrodiil, and in Battlegrounds, it's not bad either. It just gives you the ability to mark people and help your team out. You can put something like Relentless Focus back here, which could be good. We're not running it on our front bar, but we're really not looking to proc it ever. You can put Blur back here if you want a little bit more tankiness. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I would put back here. be completely honest. You could put a fighter's guild if you really want to. Put fighter's guild. You could put like trap beast back here and just randomly have somebody proc it if you want to, but I think Reaper's Mark is probably the best thing to put back here. Of course, we're running channeled acceleration. This is just pretty insane. We are obviously gonna 100% crit, and it's gonna give us 10% crit damage. And I just use this because I'll hit it while I'm in stealth, and it will allow me to just have a longer buff instead of the instant. And I love the movement speed from this, which we'll talk about in a second. We're running Rally, of course, Shadow Image, which is pretty standard. We're running Leeching Strikes. This is mainly for Cyrodiil. It's good out of Cyrodiil too, but it kind of just allows us to stay in stealth for a long period of time and give us a little bit of sustain when we need it. And then we're running Temporal Guard because we really don't need anything back here, and this will save you every once in a while. Plus, we have the defending trait on our back bar with the Temporal Guard, so it does give us a little bit of defenses if we absolutely need it. So if you haven't seen my video about my sniping build, this is going to be very similar as well. We are a vampire. We do keep ourselves at stage 2. How we do that is we run 2 different types of food here. We have Corrupted Bloody Mara, which will put us at stage 4. So we'll pop that, and then we'll pop 2 Purifying Bloody Maras to put us back down to stage 2, and we're going to stay there 100% of the time because we just want these 2 passes. We went Darkstalker, which ignores movement speed penalty while sneaking and decrease the time it takes to enter sneak by 50%. Plus this one, whenever we leave sneak, invisibility, or misform, your weapon and spell damage increases by 300. Just give us that extra pop when we come out of stealth. None of these actually matter. I was testing around with the build. Typically you don't even want to, I don't even spec into these just because I was testing out kind of a cheesy build, and these helped a little bit, but I really didn't need it. You can take this, but we're not going to be in stage 4, so, or stage 3, so we're never going to see them. So just put 2 points into here. Don't take any of this. This is again for my cheesy build, and don't worry about that. All right, so when it comes to that, and the reason why I bring that up is because we are going to stay in stealth 100% of the time. I know everybody's like, well, if you're stealth, that's a gank build. Well, we're a Nightblade. We get so many bonuses from coming out of stealth. As a Nightblade, you should always look to come out of stealth. Like, unless you're running a tank Brawl Blade, you should 100%, in my opinion, always try to attack somebody coming out of stealth. You just get so many bonuses for it that you shouldn't. Plus, we want to flank, right? It's easy to flank somebody when they don't see you coming. So I know people will be like, oh, Parfax, it's just a gank build. It's not. Trust me, you can 1vx in this build. You got to be a little bit careful because if you CC, you die. But you can do a lot with this build. The Nightblade, we are just using the tools that we have. Vampire synergizes very well with it. That's why we stay at just stage 2. You can see the bottom right there. I'm just at stage 2 vampirism, and it's just really good. Honestly, if you're not using your stealth, you're really, in my opinion, you're just not utilizing the Nightblade to its full extent. That's what the Nightblade's good at. It'd be like saying that if you were a Necro, you didn't put up your little what's it called, your pet that gives you 10% damage reduction, right? Well, I'm just a tank if I put that on. Well, no, you're medium armor running double procs or triple proc sets, right? Doesn't mean you're a tank because you put on 10% damage reduction from that ability, right? So we use stealth as the Nightblade because it's a tool we have, and we get a lot of bonuses from coming out of stealth. So take that with what you will. Okay, so basically that's the build. Let's go over the champion points. The champion points here, we are going to put Fighting Finesse, very good, increase your critical damage. We are definitely, trying to crit as much as possible. We're doing Backstabber, which is going to increase our critical damage by 15% if we're from flanking. If you don't know exactly what flanking is, that means you're just not attacking them from the front. As long as you're to the side or to their back is considered flanking. That is a big thing for the Nightblade to know. We are running Deadly Aim, increase the damage with your single target skills by 10%. And we have Master of Arms, increase damage with direct damage attacks by 2% per stage, so 10% there. Other than that, we're just filling your passives as needed. You want to make sure you probably get down here and get this point, those for the penetration. And these, this is the most important one right here. And then I would go for penetration. And then I would just start filling in like your random stats. And then I do like Blessed. I know it's only 2% healing done, but every extra healing is more defensive, in my opinion. So really good. And then red, we're kind of going with the normal nodes. We have these three. We have this one has this armor and health. And then we have this one, which while under effects of crowd control immunity, you take 10% less damage. So like I said, when you get CC, you can die. So that's just going to allow us to maybe save our life. That's 10% damage reduction is huge though, right? So we do that and then make sure you get this first passive right here. Then other than that, just kind of fill in as you wish. It's not a big deal. So that's the champion points. Let's talk a little bit about our food. I know we already talked about our poisons, but I'm just kind of running these. I have so many consumables on this character. I'm running mainly braised rabbit. I really like this food. We don't really need the sustain so much because we are killing so often. If you feel like you need the sustain for some reason, you can run maybe takeaway broth, but I really don't recommend it. I recommend just running the braised rabbit or any dual stat food. You can run pack leader's bone broth if you'd like, but the dual stat food is the best in my opinion. If you don't run these two instead of running the takeaway broth, I would go Bewitched Sugar Skulls. The health recovery is going to help a little bit, but we're really doing it for the tri-stat. We do use a lot of our magic, and sometimes I wish I do had a little bit more, but Bewitched Sugar Skulls would get that. But instead of running the tri-stat food, we are just running tripods. Tripods are insane. We don't need the crit. We don't need a whole lot, so tri-stat is really good. It'll allow you to continuously stealth. It'll allow you to get the healing up. It'll allow you to get your sustain via your stamina and magic. It gives you, of course, your major endurance, major intellect, major fortitude, all really insane. And I really, really, really suggest you running these. I know it's kind of weird, but I love it. I always have some stamina pots on me for when I'm sneaking around and need to pop a stamina potion so I can just like run a little faster, and it really helps out a little bit. Now we're gonna go back to the weapons. I am running dual axe. Sorry, I know we're just kind of like bopping around just a little bit. I forgot to mention it. I would actually prefer a mace and an axe. That's kind of what I have settled on. Double axe is really good, and we'll see some crazy numbers. If you get somebody squishy not running in pen, you will absolutely murder them. You will just murder them with the charged weapon, light attack, surprise attack. Like you load that up as you're getting ready to hit them, you go boop boop, they're dead. Like it does so much damage, and you will absolutely hit them crazy hard. But I like a little bit of in pen, so if I were, when I going to continue to run this build, I'm going to craft myself a mace, and we're going to have that instead of the dual axes. I was trying it out, and it's really good. If you have dual axes, it's not that big of a deal. It just means some of the tankier targets you're going to have a little bit hard time dealing with. But remember, we are running a one-piece penetration. We also have new moons, which give us penetration. So we're not super lacking in the penetration, but we're lacking a little bit. We'll go over the stats here. These are unbuffed, but we have 4805 weapon damage. We are sitting at 35.4 weapon critical, bro. I know you're gonna get the little piece of this action. There you go. Guys, that's my fault for coming all the way up here. So we are at, hold on, let me hit my food here. And we'll go ahead and just hit our weapon buff here. All right, you can see here we are at about 30,000 stamina, 25.7 max health. Our weapon damage is at 5626. That doesn't seem like a lot, but we really don't need it. We are really relying on our crit damage versus our weapon damage to deal all of our damage. Trust me, you will not lack damage on this build. You might look at that number and be like, man, Parfax, that's not that great. But bro, trust me, you do not need a lot of weapon damage. Weapon damage is the most overrated stat in the game. Like everybody worries about which weapon damage is, but your weapon damage is based on a ton of different factors. Yes, I could go warrior and I could pump it and it might make the stat sheet look a little nicer, right? But we were hit way harder with our setup, so do not worry about this at all. We have, let's look what, and got that up. So our recoveries, we are running 1408. Stamina recovery, I didn't pop a tripod. We get a little bit more recovery when we have our tripod running there. We have as I said, 35% weapon crit. We're sitting at 10k penetration, which is the reason why I would like to go one mace. It'll get us our penetration up just a little bit more and help us a little bit out. Tanky targets, of course, we're putting 64 into stamina. Physical and spell resistance doesn't matter a ton, but we can cloak it, and we're up to 18k for both, which isn't bad. Kind of what you'd expect from a build similar to this. Okay, so there's the stats you can see here. Vampire stage 2, major savagery, because we have, of course, this on our bar. And so that's the build. I'm gonna have a couple clips coming up. I know this build is longer. I feel like you guys really don't want to see too many like long clips at the end. You're kind of just really interested in the build. So it's gonna be a pretty short clip session here at the end. But if you want to see more clips at the end, just let me know. And yeah, so that's the build, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy the clips after this. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section that's below. I try to answer just about everything unless it's completely trolled. And even if it's completely trolled, I sometimes answer it as well. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon.